Hari Om, Mickey Space here, guiding you through the next Pranayama session. Today's session is focused on Nadi Shodana. Nadi Shodana is the alternate nostril breath. One of the classic pranayamas. One that my teacher always said, if nothing, just do Nadi Shodana every day, and that's the ultimate pranayama to be practicing all the time. So a little bit of an overview of why and how Nadi Shodana. So Nadi Shodana is the alternate nostril breath, essentially. And if we look at the word nadis are the channels, the meridians, the nadis. And Shodana is the cleansing or the purifying. So the idea is that we're purifying these channels. So there's various effects, various reasons we work with Nadi Shodana. It can be called Nadi Shodana or Nadi Shodan, depending again on the pronunciation of your Sanskrit. But let's see, essentially, let's just start from a very basic level. So from a physical aspect, you're alternating the breath through each nostril. So you're helping to clear the nostrils, to make the breath a little easier, to again enhance the lung capacity. And then we're also, there's a connection when you breathe in through one nostril. So let's say I'm breathing in through my left nostril. That actually activates the right side of my brain, and then the opposite for the other side. So right nostril, left side of the brain. So the two sides of the brain, the two hemispheres of the brain. Through this practice, it helps to bring these two hemispheres into some kind of balance. So usually we're more active on one side than the other, and also through that integration of the two hemispheres, it also helps to slow down the brainwave patterns. So often, particularly in the left side of the brain, if we're more sort of in that processing of left side, of active side, essentially the sun side, the brain waves are usually quite fast, quite say alpha waves, and we want to try and get into a beta wave, or maybe even a delta wave, where the brain waves slow down. So that brings us into a more meditative state. So look, that's on a basic level, just helping to enhance the lung capacity, clear the sinuses, and slow down the brainwave patterns. So a fantastic prelude to meditation, one that I like to practice as my drop into meditation. But let's talk also now about the actual meaning of the name and how we can go deeper into what it's doing from that energetic level. So Nadi Shodana, the purifying of these nadis, of these energy channels. So the idea is that we have the Pranamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha is the energy body. So Anandamaya Kosha is our physical body, the one we are most comfortable with, or most that we can identify with. Of course, also Manomaya Kosha, the body of the mind, so thoughts and whatnot. But understanding Pranamaya Kosha is the energetic body, so it's the body of all these energy channels, all these nadis. So this is where all the chakras are placed upon this energetic body. So the chakras are kind of like the place where all the nadis, or a lot of them, converge. So it's like, the roundabout where all the other roads come out of. And we've got something like 72,000 nadis running through the body, but there's a few that are particularly useful to understand and to work with. Let's say three main ones. So we have Shushumna Nadi, which is the central channel. This is also nicknamed the channel of fire, and this runs through the center of the body, essentially through the spine. And this is where the chakras are laid upon. And then you have Ida and Pingala. Ida and Pingala, which also can be represented as the sun and moon channel. And these are the spiraling channels. You may have seen the images that spiral through the chakras. And these two channels represent the duality, the polarity within us. So sun and moon channel, male, female, light, dark, whichever dual way you want to express that, or yin and yang. And the idea is that these channels, one is always more dominant than the other, and that's just the expression of our dual nature. But ultimately, one of the aims of our yoga practice is to go beyond duality or into our non-dual awareness. And so to be able to achieve this, or one of the ways to achieve this, is to bring these two channels, this Ida and Pingala, into unison, into balance. And so there are, a lot of the yoga practices are working towards this. And also at another level, there's also the idea that Kundalini awakening, or let's say Kundalini movement, can arise again through that balance. Once the Ida and Pingala are in balance, it allows for Kundalini to open up, so prana can move through the central channel of fire, and all the chakras then awaken, and that's the awakening of the Kundalini. So to go into all of that a little deeper requires another session, but just to have that idea, there's these two aspects of awakening. One is the Kundalini awakening, and one is the awakening into non-duality, or beyond the mind. Now, Nadi Shodana is one of the practices that really helps to bring these two channels, Ida and Pingala, into alignment, as the nostrils themselves are the pathway or the connection into these two channels. So your left nostril is the pathway towards the right brain, the right side of the brain, which is the moon channel. And the right nostril connects to the left side of the brain, which is the sun channel. So these, you could visualize these, so the prana, the energy, moving in through the nostrils as we breathe, of course, and then spiraling around the chakras, so around the third eye, and then intersecting the throat, the heart, and so on, going through all the chakras and then back up. So every time we breathe in and out of, when we alternate the breath with our Nadi Shodana practice, we're helping to bring these two channels into balance. Now what we notice is that one nostril is usually more dominant than the other. And this dominance changes throughout the day, generally every hour and a half, every 90 minutes or so. It'll shift from left to right, right to left. And this is something you can just verify yourself. Just check where can you breathe easier right now? Check again in an hour or two and see if that's changed at all. And that's again just that expression of duality. There's always a dominance of left or right moving through our day. So the idea is through Nadi Shodana is that ultimately through the regular practice that these two channels become more and more into balance. And so through that balance, then those greater awakenings can occur. So whether we practice for that intention of greater awakening, or whether we just want to practice purely to slow down the brainwave patterns, calm the mind, it doesn't matter, because whichever your intention is, the outcome is beneficial regardless. So how do we practice? So we use our thumb and our ring finger, generally speaking with your right hand. That's the traditional method, using the right hand, but as far as I'm concerned, you can use your left hand if you prefer. And sometimes you alternate the hands anyway, because if we start working for a while, maybe one arm gets tired, so you can always swap. But basically the thumb and the ring finger, the little finger joins the ring finger as one unit. So those are the fingers that we use to place a very gentle pressure, not pressing into the nostril. We don't need to press hard, just, I mean, some people would put it just blocking off the nostril like such, but you can just over the nostril there, just the flare of the nostril, just a gentle pressure, just enough to close it off, so when you inhale it just comes through the opposite nostril, and then you switch over to create that loop system. So you might visualize like a loop looping around in the third eye as you inhale through one, exhale through the other. Now, two traditional ways of holding the hand in place. One is Vishnu Mudra, which you bring the index and middle fingers into the pad of the hand. And so that's our Vishnu Mudra, to work the rhythm. But probably more common is resting the middle and index finger on the third eye, or just there at the forehead. And it doesn't matter, whichever method resonates for you. The other hand in Yan Mudra, the index finger to the pad of the thumb over the knee like such. Now you want the elbow to come out a little bit, so a little bit of a little opening between the arm and the chest. So you don't want the arm like this, because then you tend to, after time, slouch. And no slouching. The idea is to keep the spine upright, so particularly for that energetic aspect of clearing the nadis, the spine needs to be nice and upright. So maintain a steady spine. So the arm out just slightly, shoulders back, and that's our position to work with. So the thing is that after some time, that arm can get tired. So the options are to bring the other hand in to support, like such, just under the elbow. Or after a couple of rounds, you can always switch over to the other hand. So you just work with what works for you. Now, the rhythm, there are various rhythms that we can work with Nadi Shodana. To begin with, just an even rhythm in and out, in and out. So we work a count. Let's say we start with a count of 5. So 5 in through the left. We start through the left always. 5 in through the left. 5 out through the right. 5 in through the right. 5 out through the left. And that completes one round when you've done each nostril in and out. So that's one round. After some time, as you build your lung capacity, you slowly make the count a little longer, so that ultimately maybe working to a count of 10. 10 in and 10 out. But you start with 5, build it up over time, maybe 6, just working it up in your own time. And look, that's all you need to do. There are variations where we can bring in our kumbhakas, our retentions, and also the idea of a longer exhale. So a possible rhythm could be 5 in through the left, and then 10 out through the right, 5 in through the right, and 10 out through the left. And maybe with some retention, so 5 in through the left, and then holding for 5, and 10 out through the right. 5 in through the right. Holding for 5. And 10 out through the left. When you hold, when you work your kumbhakas, engaging the bandhas as well, particularly Mula Bandha and the chin lock Jalandhara Bandha. But that's really at a more advanced practice and not 100% necessary. Really just initially just an even rhythm in and out through both nostrils is key to just become familiar with the rhythm and reap its benefits. Now, one thing that does happen is, because one nostril is always more dominant than the other, is that sometimes it's actually tricky to get the breath in through that less dominant nostril, the one that's a little blocked. Now, if we do have a cold, if we're really clogged up, then maybe it's not the right time for Nadi Shodana. But if it's just a little bit of a blockage, then this is where the Ujjayi breath comes in handy. So the idea is that rather than breathing essentially in through the nose, or using the nostril to snort the breath in, you could say, you're using your Ujjayi breath, so you're using the throat action to actually draw the breath in, and so that can move through even the most stubborn blockages. So instead of snorting the breath in, you're using your Ujjayi to sip the breath in. So let's work a few rhythms, a few rounds together, just to explore this rhythm. So we'll work to that count of 5 in, 5 out. So releasing the current breath with an exhale through your left, and then inhale through the left, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, and keep working in your own time for just a few more rounds. Keep going until you complete this next round with that exhalation through the left, and Just keep the eyes closed for a moment, focus in on the third eye, and then breathing in and out of both nostrils. Noticing how we feel. Blinking the eyes back open when you're ready. So a good rhythm to bring the focus into the third eye while we spiral through all the chakras. It's a way to purify and cleanse the whole chakra system. The third eye, of course, is the direct entry point, the closest chakra to the nostrils, to the breath in, and the prana, the energy, the life force. So fantastic one to come into third eye space. So Nadi Shodana, practice that one every day, and giving you a good overview of a few pranayama rhythms, which within itself, what we've done so far, create a nice little toolkit to begin our pranayama practice with. So our next session will bring it all together to create that little practice. So thank you very much. Namaste.